Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mac, and we're jam-packed again today with your daily comedy news. I cannot get enough of this Tom Segura chop-busting on Garth Brooks. The latest, to promote his August 27th show at the Comedy Mothership in Austin, Joe Rogan's place, Segura photoshopped his face over Garth Brooks' face on an album cover. Tom even got the font right and has a sticker with the date and time of the show. Tom's been making fun of Garth Brooks for years. If you watched the recent Netflix series, Bad Thoughts, there's a wonderful Totally Not Garth Brooks at All sketch that was absolutely my favorite. This all gets back to a conversation on Tom's podcast years ago when they started joking that Garth Brooks might be a serial killer, which of course Garth Brooks is not. He's definitely not a serial killer. I just want to make that clear. But despite my certainty that Garth Brooks is not a serial killer, Tom Segura had apparently suggested that the evidence was Garth Brooks' very unusual videos that he had posted on social media. Fans started commenting on Garth's social media posts with one question, which was, "Where are the bodies, Garth?" Tom Segura has been blocked on Instagram by Garth Brooks. In the past, Segura has talked about a reliable source who Segura asked, "Does he know?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, he knows." And I was like, "Is he upset?" And they were like, "He just doesn't get it. He doesn't know why you're talking about him," Segura said. I was like, okay. Dusty Slay mixing it up with the country music fans. He has some strong opinions on what's country music or not. You'll find Dusty on the Rolling Stone podcast Nashville Now. Dusty talking about his new special that was out last week, Wet Heat. Rolling Stone asked, "You caused a lot of stir on social media when you claimed that Post Malone's F1 Trillion was not country music. Why don't you consider it country?" It's a fair question, Dusty said. "I'll say this. I think it was 2 discs, and I didn't realize that the second disc actually was a little more country. What I listened to was the stuff with the other country singers, and I was like, I don't like it. I don't think this is country, personally. I don't think Post Malone has a country voice. I don't mean an accent. He just doesn't sound country to me. And then he was paired up with a lot of country singers that I really like. I don't like people switching genres, coming over to country and being like, now the country's super popular. I'm going to make country now. I've heard that Post Malone, his next album, is going to be more traditional country, so I think he heard me. If you want to make a country album, make a country album." So Rolling Stone was curious. All right, what goes into a country album? Dusty said, "I think you need steel guitar, fiddle. If you have those, you already have a recipe for country. That's a good place to start. If you don't have a bassy voice, you're going to need those 2 things. If you have a real deep voice, I think you can get away with just an acoustic guitar." They then asked him about a bunch of albums. One of them, Morgan Wallen's I'm the Problem. Dusty said, "All right, I don't think so. I don't like it, but this is what I'll say. I got a brother-in-law from Michigan. He grew up with us. My sister's 10 years older than me. They got married. They started dating when they were like 18, so I was like 8. So this guy, he's been in my life. He moved from Michigan down to Alabama, lived in a trailer park with us. He knows all about country music now, and I was trying to show him how not country it is, and he goes, that sounds country to me. So it's hard to argue, but to me, it's not country. It's a thing they're doing with the way they sing now. Everything sounds so emotional, and everything's trying to sound so deep. I think there's a groundedness that country music really needs." So Rolling Stone followed up with Carrie Underwood's Before He Cheats. Dusty Slay said, "Yeah, country's very well known for breakup songs, but I feel like there should be a male version of this song where you're the other guy. You're the guy that she keyed his car. You need that guy. Where's his side of this? What was going on? Why did he cheat? What happened? Did he really? Is she overreacting? Did she go to jail? Cheating's not illegal in a relationship." Love it. John Mulaney was on Threads pushing his book club. I think the reason John Mulaney has a book club is to make Jim Gaffigan's Whiskey Project look cool in comparison. I think Mulaney's taking one for the team. On Threads, John posted some crooked photos, but he explained, "My 3-year-old photographer, his son, captured my excitement for this month's Mulaney Reads pick, which is Shark Heart by Emily Hayback." Mulaney explains, "Shark Heart, very hard to say, was my favorite book of 2023 and one that I don't think got enough attention when it came out. It tells the story of Lewis and Ren, a young married couple that faces something many of us can relate to." You know what's going through my head now? The idea that somebody said the way into a half-assed Mulaney impression is to do Fred Schneider from the B-52s. "Lewis is diagnosed with a rare disease that will gradually turn his body into that of a great white shark, like for real." Next thread from John Mulaney. "I think each of you will bring your own life to the book and maybe see it in the changes and losses you have gone through. It's the wildest premise, and yet I think it will feel deeply personal to lots of readers. The book is fantastic, and you can buy it at independent booksellers all around the world." It is John Mulaney's book club. Cool. Conan O'Brien had Mac Packer Andy Sandberg on his podcast. They started talking about Conan O'Brien's tenure on SNL. Samberg had heard the show was a little more competitive and kind of grimy. Conan said, yeah, it definitely was when I was there. And then I have to credit Adam Sandler. Conan said every week he would worry, I don't know if I have anything this week. It's late. I don't think I can write comedy. He would call his girlfriend spiraling. She'd tell him to quit. Conan, I was in a state of mind. I think like Smigel and Odenkirk and Greg Daniels were like, it's life or death. And it feels like that's kind of how everyone feels. And then this guy Adam Sandler showed up one day and he's like, Babadoo. And he kept talking about, let's go get a milkshake. And I thought, what? And he was like, this is so much fun to be at SNL. I love it. He was really happy. And you're just like, how is this a possibility? You can like this? Conan added, I think sometimes real silliness used to be discounted somewhat. And it was Adam Sandler who made him realize it had real value. Congratulations to Marc Maron. His upcoming documentary, Are We Good?, will be in theaters. Independent documentary film distributor Utopia has acquired the North American theatrical rights to Are We Good? Are We Good? Shares the life story of Marc Maron. It specifically emphasizes Marc Maron's self-reflective journey through grief after unexpectedly losing his partner, filmmaker, and actress Lynn Shelton. The film chronicles how Marc Maron returned to the stage, while also exploring his career trajectory over the course of 40 years. Are We Good? Includes interviews with John Mulaney, Nate Bargatze, David Cross, and Michaela Watkins, as well as footage from Maron's 16 years hosting the podcast. On the Good One podcast, Bill Burr sounded pretty feisty, especially when it gets into the political stuff. I'll get to that later in the week. Burr talked about working on himself and talked about some legacy advice you would hear from comedians. There's this thing, don't go getting happy. If you get happy, you're not going to be funny anymore. But no, it's actually better because it opens up this whole new worldview. So you're not doing the same thing the entire time. You have to keep incrementally changing every year. So there's some sort of forward momentum to what you're doing. That's what happens when people notice a change. You have a positive reaction to it. But if people I've left behind who are still angry and misogynistic and blah, blah. I'm not saying I didn't have a lot of issues with women. I do. But even then, it's not them. It has to do with other stuff. I just keep going back and figuring out what it is. So I definitely had to fall off of the stay angry bro guys, and they're just not fans now. I just think, well, hey, man, I hope you're not angry your whole life, because I was on my way to doing that, and I don't want to be that guy. The old me, if somebody would have said that, I would have been like, well, F you, I'm doing what I want. But even for a person saying, you're not as funny as you used to be, I can still have empathy and I go, I know what he's saying. Don't go to light because I'm not ready yet. Stay here in a bar with me, thinking all this negative stuff. I don't want to be the Pied Piper of that. I don't want my tombstone to be, here lies Bill Burr, he was angry. Or my one effing life that I had, I did that. So I'm also realizing it's just kind of what it is. You have your stuff you have to work out, and that's your life sentence. Just for Laughs has announced some of the lineup, at least, for Just for Laughs Toronto. Glad to see the Toronto Comedy Festival coming back. It is a fantastic festival. I've been thinking about going up this year. It's from September 18th through the 27th. The names they pulled out in the press release: Gabe Iglesias, Sarah Millican, viral sensation Dropout Improv, and fan favorites Maria Bamford, Al Madrigal, Big J. Okerson, and Ron Funches. I'll kind of fly through this. Lineup includes Al Madrigal. I'm guessing if you listen to my podcast, you know Al, best known as a correspondent on The Daily Show. I like his stand-up a lot. Alistair Ogden is one of Canada's top comedic talents and was one of the new faces at Just for Laughs Montreal. He was pretty good. Ashwin Singh is a stand-up comedian, musician, and writer whose work blends incisive humor with heartfelt social commentary, an Indian immigrant turned Canadian resident. Ashwin draws on his unique perspective to explore themes of cultural identity, immigration and family, wit, and relatability. Big J. Okerson, I imagine you would know. Brittany Schmidt is an LA-based, Wisconsin-raised comic. She likes her comedy like she likes her cheese. Stanky. That's hacky. I'd be afraid of that. That's a little hacky. Who wrote that? Don't be fooled by her girl-next-door looks. Her humor is insidious and unapologetic. She's open for Theo Von, Chris Redd, and others. All right, Shades Arena, best known for his viral videos and impressive social media presence. Open for Bert Kreischer. Connor O'Malley. You can check out Connor's special stand-up solutions on YouTube. Dropout Improv. From the minds behind Dropout comes an evening of improv, minigames, and off-the-wall shenanigans. Fabrizio Copano is one of the most well-known and highly regarded comedians in Latin America. He was the first South American comedian to shoot an original comedy special for Netflix. Gabe Iglesias, you know who that is. Gavin Matz, in 2024, named one of Vulture's comedians you should and will know. Gina Yashir, you guys know Gina, right? Hamoudi, a.k.a. The Fob 4. Described as hilarious takes on immigrant life and cultural clashes, his skits mix humor with relatable insights, especially for diaspora communities. Oh my goodness, the ever-so-serious Hari Kondabolu is going to be there. I think we need to update Hari's credentials a little bit. We're told he has performed on such shows as Conan and The Late Show with David Letterman. It's been a minute. Ian Fidance, described by Dave Attell as a power act. Jay Jordan, who has a lot of buzz, also on Vulture's Comedians You Should and Will Know list in 2020, was a new face in 2019. Langston Kerman, Maria Bamford. Mark Forward will perform his third comedy special. It will be recorded for future release. He has 2 specials already. I love the titles of those. One is called Mark Forward Presents Mark Forward, and the other one, I love this title, Mark Forward Wins All the Awards. Ron Funches will be up there. Sarah Millican. She is one of the UK's, and in recent years, the world's most well-loved touring comedians. Todd Barry. Ooh, I like Todd. How are we doing on time? All right, I can do a couple more here. Mo Amer was announced as a headliner for 2025's Dubai Comedy Festival. Liz Mealy will release a new comedy special called Space Camp. That'll be out September 9th on Punch Up Live. Recorded at the Bell House in Brooklyn, Liz Mealy hit the stage with her rapid-fire storytelling style to share tales of her boyfriend's botched vasectomy, faking marriage, being a sky princess, cat mishaps, and more. Liz is also going to start touring on the 11th of September in Austin, Texas. Whole bunch of dates ending up Boston, November 6th. Info at lizmealy.com, M-I-E-L-E. And Johnny Mac's got a ton of leftovers, which means he's going to be able to pre-tape Labor Day weekend, which is kind of nice. That's your comedy news for today. If you'd like the program without commercial interruptions, if you're on Apple Podcasts, click that banner. It says uninterrupted listening. It's right there. Just click it. I mean, $5 a month, but it's right there. Just click it. And have you checked out Paranormal Aliens? This guy's onto something. It all sounds kooky, and then you listen to it, and you're like, you know what? That actually makes sense. Check it out, Paranormal Aliens, wherever you get your shows. See you tomorrow.